Alright, so where are we up to with the XJS? I reckon somewhere around here. In Colin's yard, under a tarp, minus an engine. With Colin on the case though, it was always a matter of when and not if. The man is a force of nature. We gathered together all the best ancillaries from between the two engines and cobbled together a mad hybrid of my cheap as chips bottom end and my old modified cylinder head. It was rapidly starting to look more and more like a complete engine, and the excitement was really building. I couldn't wait to hear this thing run. Unfortunately though, it did become clear that we were probably going to miss the start of the racing season. But that's when I was a very, very lucky boy, and I got a helping hand from an old sparring partner. I've had plenty of titanic battles for class honours with Derek Pearce in his monstrous XK8, and I was privileged to be entrusted with it for the start of the season. There was just one thing that I found concerning.
Normally runs that car for Derek Pearce. Oh! Place, he's gone in even further this time.
Del Boy's XK8 is an awesome machine, but it's got a reputation for being damn near undrivable in the wet. As we headed into the first round at Silverstone, I was praying for it to stay dry. I don't know what must have gone through the mind of the leading Thunders guys as they came round corners basically on rails on their proper tyres to find Jags completely broadside across the circuit. Anyway, despite the dreaded wet stuff coming down, my first weekend in the XK8 turned out to be pretty successful, picking up 2 overall wins, my first ones ever. Back to more humble machinery, and the dreaded rear frame had to come out of the XJS again to have a look at the diff. While it was out, we found the effects that years of racing had had on this antique bit of equipment. Fair to say that that was going to need a little bit of work before going back in. And breakages were becoming a theme at this point. Even my trusty old race truck had fallen victim, with an inbuilt generator that, yeah, wasn't exactly healthy. Still, could be worse. Oh wait, it was. My mechanical disaster peripheral zone even extends to trailers. Luckily, I'm fortunate enough to have some very resourceful mates, so while I removed the generator from the truck and took it home to get it fixed, which, no, I still haven't done, I was able to borrow an old 2-stroke generator from a mate of mine, which was a godsend. Or it would be if it was strong enough to even power the lights. Life on the road's a bit like a horror movie for me at the minute. I have at least managed to get something fixed. You may remember that my old TVR Cerberus had a dash fault that stopped me from using it. Well, a quick pillage for parts, and I managed to get that sorted. As for the XK8 race car project that lives next door, don't ask. For the moment, I've got the luxury of using someone else's, and as we headed into the second round at Brands Hatch, once again, I was praying for it to stay dry. This time, when I tackled the wet conditions in Del Boy's terrifying XK8, it would be from the back of the grid with a 10-second penalty, thanks to being a short arse and coming in underweight for race 1. For some reason though, unlike Silverstone, this wasn't a fight for my life. It really came together. gutted. The The car went really well in both races at Brands Hatch, but between the disqualification and the breakdown, I left completely empty-handed. If I needed something to make me feel better though, it soon came in the form of a video sent to me by Colin. It was go time. The engine was in and the XJS could be finished. First, I had to repair all the bodywork that had been smashed up in the same crash that had seized up the last engine. And the body shop guys, look away now. Like most things to do with the XJS, attention to detail played no part in this. It just needed to be strong, and it needed to be green. Along with a host of other tidying up and finishing up jobs that needed to be done now the engine was in, it all came together to culminate in one complete race car. And now I can present to you the sweetest sound ever heard. And what do you do with your freshly rebuilt race car? Well, you give it to this numpty to fling around Thruxton, of course. The XJS made its debut with the Classic Sports Car Club, and in all honesty, it was a complete nightmare. But we did get the car home to see the checkered flag, and that meant so much to me. It was a decent shakedown in terms of working out what we need to do, and I'm already getting stuck in. It won't be long until this thing's back up the front again. If there's one thing I can count on though, it's that the XJS is going to make me seriously have to work for it. It always has.